DQ. Look.
Dumping my swisher guts on my high school diploma. Knowing I'm highly educated from my aroma. Don't know where it's coming from, but I know it's marijuana. And you can smell the leaves in the room.
Check. Look, I got a new weed strand, come from New Zealand. It's a new weed brand from my new weed man. Connected to the growers, I'm a true weed fan. I'm a true weed stand. Green thumb and green hand. Jammin' Leaf Village, I'm a cool geek, man. I got a smooth freak who chillin' for a cool week, man. Running through them papers like a Newsweek stand. Cause all my cushions fuckier than Juneteenth bands. I'm selling 3.5s to 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah. DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on me.
What up? Try Media in the building. I'm in here with DQ, Mr. Hampton, if you're crazy. I was gonna say nasty, right? But that would have been the pause of all pauses. That would have been the yeah, that's too wild. I would say happy Juneteenth. I don't agree.
Haters.
I'm
Haters don't hate.
just started off the red. We're about to get a quick conversation in. By the way, DQ, I got Chef, Mr. Baltimore himself, to agree that Tank Davis is overrated as of right now. So I'm not listening to nobody else. He lives in Baltimore through and through, and he agrees with my perspective on Tank Davis.
Chef got to give a Baltimore rapper still, man. So I can't take what you just said with any weight. We got to go in chronological order, man. We need a Baltimore rapper, then I can take his opinion on Tank.
You ain't give your thoughts on it. So what was your stance on first off, did you see the fight?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So do you know my argument first before you go? Do you know my argument first?
Off what you just said, I think I can get that you think people are having moment bias with Tank Davis.
Yes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I think I don't know when Mike Tyson came out, right?
Peace to the chat. Peace to everybody coming in.
Yeah, peace to everybody coming in. We're gonna recognize y'all in 1 second. But I remember when Mike Tyson, I don't know if I remember, I don't know when it was. I want to say 90s, where Mike Tyson, right? Everybody was talking about he was better than Muhammad Ali, but he was still young, still, he was knocking people out and, doing all of that stuff, but he was still young, right? So people were saying he was this, he was that, he was the greatest boxer, all this, that, and the other. And he still hadn't like, broke through. So they immediately was like, he's better than Muhammad Ali. And I was like, nah, wait a minute. Now then I was a kid, I didn't care. But now thinking back, they were saying that he was better than Muhammad Ali before Buster Douglas. So they didn't even give Buster Douglas a chance to. They didn't even give his career a chance to get even to that before they were saying, he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And then look at it. Now you could say he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, probably the most polarizing, or maybe one of the most impactful. But if you look at his record, everybody that was good that he fought, he lost. Everyone. He lost to Holyfield twice, Lennox Lewis. He didn't really, it's kind of like Tank Davis. But Tank Davis ain't lose yet, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, to call him a legend today is just too much. And Chef agrees. I'm not saying he's not great. I'm not saying he won't even be great. But now they're saying he might fight Lomachenko, or that him and Shakur might actually happen. So if that actually happens, then I think that'll be fire. Go ahead, DQ, and then we let Logic get in there. Okay, go ahead, Logic. Are y'all audios off, or is it mine? Oh, probably y'all. Okay, so peace to the chat. Cuban, Smalls, Ramon, Cedric. Logic is somehow in the building, out the building like normal. Trail in the building. We was having a conversation in the Discord, and it was actually an interesting conversation. And like most times, what normally happens, one conversation will actually make another conversation better. So we'll be talking about one thing like Juneteenth, and then somebody, usually Cuban, will bring up a topic. Let me put the link in the chat. We'll bring up a topic that is polarizing, that actually make you want to do a show about it. So we had a conversation about race. So is Juneteenth a distraction? Now, I'm still learning about it. I know that I have certain biases because I'm in the Northeast. I know that certain things are more important to us than other things, or we just don't know. I'm going to make a controversial statement, non-controversial. I was not aware of Juneteenth before COVID-19. And I would consider myself educated, book smart, street smart, culturally smart in a way. When I mean smart, not genius level, but, tapped in. And I was not aware of it until it became a national conversation. So when other people were telling me, Juneteenth is like, first I heard it was like July 4th for Black people. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then, because they said 1865, and I said, yeah, okay, I guess if you're trying to make the stretch that Emancipation Proclamation is somehow Juneteenth for Black people, I get it. I get that maybe that's where you're going, but I doubt it. And then I started hearing about a lady named Miss Oprah. Now, granted, I'm not from Texas, but I kept hearing about it. And by the way, in the chat, definitely come in. Yeah, exactly, Sister Safa, for real. I'm just speaking my truth. I hadn't. I'm assuming that what is to not having heard about Juneteenth. I didn't know about it really before COVID. I guess other people might be afraid to say that, and that's actually what they got going on. But I know for me, I wasn't aware of it. And then even to this day, I still don't know a bunch about it. I know some about it. How is Juneteenth with the distraction? That was a question, Chef. That's a question mark at the end of that. The grammar matters in that. So I had DQ up here because DQ is from Texas. Now DQ, who is from Texas, I'm gonna tell his story a little bit. He said that Juneteenth is something that they've been practicing like a national holiday their entire lives, since they were born. And that he worked with the lady, Miss Opal, Opal Lee, I believe that's her name, that was able to get it to be a what's up, Rush? Peace. To get it to be a national, conversation, a national holiday. But like I could tell you right now, like Juneteenth, my son is in school right now. Right now. He's not missing school for this. He's not I don't think they're delivering mail today, I guess. It's a federal holiday, so yeah, they're not delivering mail today. The banks aren't open. Credit union is open. But we're trying to figure out why I would think that coming from where I'm from, and why other people would think that coming from where they from. Now y'all welcome to hit the panel. I mean, if it becomes argumentative, it becomes argumentative, but I think I'm about to go speak to God in about a half a second, because I really was not aware of Juneteenth. Is that a crime? Put that in the chat. Is that a crime that I wasn't educated on it? I know some of y'all are from the South, but even you, Chef, you're in Baltimore. Well, no, you would, because you in the conscious community. So I know that's all y'all. Y'all, nothing's gonna get past y'all. I'm sure that in that conversation is gonna be that. I live in upstate New York, and we have been celebrating it forever. Where, Sister South? Well, not specifically where. No. Mm-mm. I'm from the Midwest. Midwest. We didn't celebrate it as kids in the Midwest. Wasn't even aware of it as kids in the Midwest. Went to the Northeast. Wasn't aware of it in the Northeast. And then now, when y'all say it's a crime, is it a crime against the child that doesn't know, that wasn't taught? I'm from Jersey, and I've been aware of Juneteenth for at least the last 10 years. So that would make you 2014. I don't know how old you are, but my question to you, Rush, would be, what did you hear about Juneteenth before 2014? What did you hear about Juneteenth? And before 2014 is, how can I say this? I'm all right, let me rephrase the question, Rush. Before 2014, what did you hear about? Okay, before 2014, you hadn't heard about it up until that time. What made you hear about it? Thank you, DQ. I'm 38. I didn't grow up with it. Yeah, I'm 30. Hey, congratulations, bro. I just joined the 38 crime. I mean, I say crime. I just joined the 38 club yesterday. Literally.
In that thing. I'm back, brother.
Okay.
Well, this thing was heat. My phone overheated just being outside. It is crazy.
Oh yeah. Yo, I'm not surprised. I'm sitting at 103. Well, I got the. I ain't telling y'all about my house. It's 103 outside. Let me see something. So far, I told them, right? I told the chat that I wasn't aware of Juneteenth until right before COVID. And we got another. Now, Sister Safa, she's from upstate New York. She said that she's known about it her entire life.
Okay.
Jeff said he knew about it his entire life. But then there's a guy, S. Rush. Y'all can hit the link if y'all want to come in. He said that he's from Jersey. He's 38, and he didn't hear about it until 2014. So now they're telling me it's a crime that I don't know. But now Cedric just made a good point. And Cedric, I'm glad that you're the one that said it, not me. Not me. Thank you. Wait, stop. Okay, wait, I'm getting saved. See, this is where I'm gonna stay in the chat. Thank you, Fetty. I'm 28, and most people my age weren't aware of it before COVID. Thank you. I never heard of Juneteenth before COVID. Before COVID-19, I never heard of it.
Like I say, I'm gonna speak mine. I'm gonna let y'all get it out. But yeah, most definitely. And I don't blame you. Like I say, I don't blame you for not knowing what it was, because it was, like I said, it originated as a down south thing. So it's cool if some up people up north knew about it. It's cool.
Yeah. No, but they're saying it was that I'm a criminal.
No. Well, that's just being facetious. They found a chink in your armor. They found a chink in your armor, man.
Yeah. Listen, you know the thing is, I don't buy by truth, but Cedric just makes a good point. And Cedric, don't ever come in here saying, don't ever say, if I'm wrong, pardon me, I'm not American, I have no say whatsoever. You have say. I'd love to hear you have a perspective. And that's what's more important than
who said this?
Yeah, Cedric. But no, listen to this. He said, my question, it's a Texas thing. Mm-hmm. Why is it a national holiday when it's state related? And that is exactly what I said.
I can definitely answer that question.
Wait. Let's say what it is first. I was about to wanted you in here. No, I wanted you in here. Mm-hmm. So I want you to educate us. If you could turn your camera on, you can. I know you outside. If you can you educate us as to what Juneteenth is? Just educate us as to what it is.
Yeah, I got you. Let me drop this in the chat. I just dropped a link in the chat. Y'all can see on the Tri-Media. Miss Opal Lee is the reason why it's a national holiday. But just to get back to why Juneteenth is so important. Juneteenth was the day when the slaves were freed down here in the South. Apologize, y'all. I got a lot going on. We're free down here in the South, especially for Texas. I've been celebrating Juneteenth my whole life. I'm actually at my grandma's house. She's been celebrating her whole life. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed, but it didn't reach down here to Texas till 2 years later. So that's why we celebrate Juneteenth. I can give a internet answer once I get this Wi-Fi going. But
no, I got you. Just tell me. I'm about to put it in. I'm about to talk to God for a second.
You want to ask God? Bet.
Yeah, I'm about to talk to God for a second. What is the Juneteenth holiday?
Let's see. Small say 42 from the South. He didn't know about it until 2008. Yeah, I'll turn 35 in 2 months. And have to say I've been knowing about it forever. But yeah, just like peppers.
Okay, so Juneteenth, celebrated on June 19th, is a holiday commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States. It marks the day in 1865 when Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston. See, remember I was asking you earlier, what is the importance of Galveston?
And I told you the joke.
Right.
That's
why
that's the joke.
That's what we're trying to figure out about Galveston.
Yeah.
So he announced General Order Number 3, which proclaimed the freedom of enslaved people in Texas. This occurred more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in January 1, 1863. Now, so my question is this. Juneteenth symbolizes the end of slavery in the United States and is a celebration of freedom and the enduring spirit of African Americans. It is a time to reflect on the struggles and contributions. Okay. Juneteenth is marked by gatherings, parades. Okay. So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Let's just say, being in the Northeast, I was supposed to hear about this before COVID, right? 2019, 2020. I was supposed to hear about this before that. No. I'm just saying. Let's just say, because some people saying they heard it their whole life, so I respect that. But I'm telling you my truth. But now, if it was so important, right? If it was so recognized, it wasn't on TV. It wasn't. No, I'm saying not here. Not from what I saw. Like, it wasn't on, like, you know how stores do like sales?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, you're right about that. It's gonna turn into my point with the marketability.
Yeah, we weren't. They weren't doing like parades. You know, New York City is the. I mean, they do a parade for anything.
You need to.
I've
No, man, I couldn't
never
find
heard
it,
of
man.
a Juneteenth parade before COVID. Never. It was not. It just wasn't discussed. So go ahead, bro. Go ahead and cook. I want to look up something.
Most definitely. Well, like I said, it definitely started as a regional theme because we always had parades and get-togethers down here. We always celebrated it down here. So I don't knock you for not experiencing that or even having an experience growing up where you're at. I know there's some certain festivals that people have in different regions that I know nothing about. But it became when it became a national holiday, I feel like that's when it landed on a lot of people's plate. Sidebar, DQ need to drop upgrade on
Yeah,
DSPs.
dropping on DSPs. You know,
Yeah, I would. I had it on DSPs, but I took it off because I'm trying to get a sponsorship deal behind it.
Okay, good. And Sosa said you would not see it. It was not a national holiday, right? So that's what I mean by, you know, to say that we should have known it or something like that. They didn't teach it in school. It wasn't brought up in school. So that's where I stand on that. Now to the hypocrisy. This ain't going to be a long show. Go ahead. Matter of fact, in this particular case, cut me off as much as possible because I got way more questions than I got answers when it comes to this. Okay, you're on mute. So here's my thought on the hypocrisy of Juneteenth. So I know that it's supposed to celebrate the freedom and equality. Now that's the freedom part I don't agree with, but I understand it. But then it's supposed to somehow celebrate. I don't agree
with the freedom part, bro.
I don't.
How? Let's walk slow. Let's walk slow on this.
Okay,
all right, let's take the F. All right, and free the F.
Okay.
Now, no, really. No, jokes aside, the freedom part, bro. It really symbolized the freedom for us down here because the federal law had passed, but I told you Texas was still thugging. They didn't care about what Abraham said. So when he pulled in with his generals in Galveston, that was a real deal moment for us. Like drop my like we was in bondage, and then we got out of bondage.
But you missed one word in what I said.
What I missed?
Juneteenth today. Not then. I understand it in the moment. What I'm just picturing the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863.
Correct.
And then for 2 years, this is for 2 years, there were
two and a thing
in Texas that were still slaves.
Correct.
And then they got to Galveston, Texas, and realized that they weren't slaves the entire time. But essentially, that's what happened. I mean, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. So I'm not talking about the thing. Go ahead.
Now, this is the reason why I dropped that in the chat, which I want you to bring up about Miss Opal Lee. She's the reason why it's a national holiday now. And she had a whole different understanding and plight in which she focused on, why it became a national holiday, which she had her own march on DC before. But most definitely, we need to bring up Miss Opal Lee. I need you to bring that up.
Okay.
Or you can even ask God.
No, I'm gonna ask Jesus, Google.
That's crazy that Google's Jesus. That's crazy.
I want to see a picture of her.
Most definitely. I had the honor to perform at one of her Juneteenth events 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I got to check, but yeah, great lady.
Okay, so who is Miss Opal Lee? Wow, 97 years young. Clap it up.
Still going.
Years young. So that's Miss Opal Lee right there?
Yes, sir. Today, some people gonna learn some not in a derogatory way, but actually learn something about a great queen who's been fighting for a long time and still is to this day, and actually reach her goal of actually getting one of her dreams fulfilled and getting Juneteenth being a national holiday. But she's a very, very influential woman.
Okay, so Miss Opal Lee, the 94-year-old activist from Fort Worth, Texas. Let me see.
Boom, boom.
See if I can make this larger. So this is the lady that made it national, essentially. Google as Jesus is hilarious. Yes, sir. I mean, if I'm gonna be credited with calling it God, then just going to give it. I'm just going to say Google is Jesus. Let me close this out. So Miss Opal Lee. Miss Opal Lee is on the move. 94-year-old activist from Fort Worth, Texas. She's the grandmother of Juneteenth. Okay. She has already begun her annual walk to DC as part of her efforts to see the momentous day. So each year on June 19th, Lee makes a 2.5-mile pilgrimage to commemorate the date in 1865, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, with more than 200. Okay, so it wasn't, this was 250,000 people.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so this was 250,000 people in 1865. They learned that they were free. So that
free.
That's
why the joke is they beat the dude up. Like, nigga, you didn't tell us this.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's called Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation Day. How long been a major? But until Thursday, when President Biden, Sleepy Joe, signed a bill establishing Juneteenth as a federal holiday, not all 50 states recognized or commemorated it. Lee has been on a mission to change those since 2016. She launched Opal's Walk. For more than 40 years, she carried on the tradition. She was particularly inspired with a plan to walk 1,400 miles at 94 is nasty work. That is nasty work. She was particularly inspired coming up with a plan to walk to 1,400 miles to petition the Obama administration and Congress to grant the holiday an official position on the calendar. She said, I'm 89 years old and there's a lot more that needs to be done. Man, that's wild. Man, I love that.
Yep.
Some people at my church, my pastor, we had a little ceremony. I walked the 2.5 miles, and after that, I started where I left off. From 2016 to January 2017, she traveled the country doing the 2.5-mile stretch in cities that invited her to take part in Juneteenth festivities. So Shreveport, Texarkana, Little Rock, Fort Smith, Denver, Madison, Milwaukee, Atlanta, and the Carolinas. She didn't walk all the way from Texas to Washington. She walked hundreds, but not all of them. Recognizing Juneteenth nationally would be one more way to acknowledge the intrinsic value of Black people and the history to the wealth and prosperity of the USA. She has 1.9 million. Oh, Nyong'o. Oh, so that must be Lupita. Okay. Nico Brim. Another admires Pharrell Williams. She just completed the walk on May 31st when Lee connected with Varieties via Zoom, titled Absolute Equality. Now we're going to get into the equality part of this Juneteenth, because that's where the hypocrisy is too much for me. But for the virtual interview, Lee used as a backdrop for her Juneteenth quilt, a hand-sewn family heirloom made of t-shirts and celebrations of the holiday. One of the squares shows a photo of Muhammad Ali from Atlanta. See, Atlanta had a Juneteenth celebration in 2016. See, we didn't have that. All right, so Opal Lee, she began her journey. She collected 100,000 signatures. She's now accrued 1.5 million supporters. So when did it actually become a holiday? What year? Wasn't it like during COVID or after COVID? Hold on. Lee's fight to see Juneteenth recognized federally. Okay. So here we go. Lee's mission to ensure that people recognize that Juneteenth isn't just a Texas holiday or a Black holiday, but an American holiday. Black people weren't free on the 4th of July. I'm even advocating having a celebration from the 19th to the 4th of July. She's a gangster on the low. Shout out to Steve. On Thursday afternoon, Lee's fight to see Juneteenth recognized federally was won. After several false starts, it passed unanimously through the Senate. The House of Representatives approved the motion with a vote of 415 to 14. U14 can move it forward. Congress passed the bill. The bill signed into law. Before 2020, Hawaii, North Dakota, South Dakota were the only states that did not formally recognize Juneteenth, while only Texas observed it as a paid state holiday. Since then, Illinois, Louisiana, Maine, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Washington are among the states to have recognized Juneteenth with a paid day of state leave. Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
So my point, I'm gonna leave her picture on the screen. Beautiful lady. So you're saying, so I get the freedom part. So the freedom part is, so the Philly, hold on, let's get to the chat real quick. Opal Lee, much respect. From Marcus, Google is Jesus is hilarious. Yeah, if I'm gonna take credit for ChatGPT being God, just going to give me Google is Jesus.
They're going to give me Google too.
Yep. Can't get StreamYard to work. Dr. J is definitely whatever you would call whatever logic. Thank you for completely changing the subject. I think you should contact Miss Opalee and explain to her it's an hypocrisy, sending her your email.
Sosa woke up with violence today.
Sosa woke up with pure violence today.
Oh man.
It was the same thing for the MLK holiday. It was not recognized in 50 states until 2000. Yeah, Sleepy Joe is hilarious. It's a fact. So did Philly Brass. What? During COVID 2021, y'all hit the like button. Peace to you, Sosa. Thank you very much. So
American Dream in here.
Oh, peace to him. Peace to him. So here's my thoughts on the hypocrisy aspect. Okay. All right, so let's stay right there. Here's my part on the hypocrisy aspect. So it's celebrated on June 19th. It marks not just from what we've learned, it marks the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. So I would say it's a historical day for the slaves in Texas. Now, watch what I go. So for the slaves in Texas, but then I get your connection how it becomes a national day, because if there's anybody enslaved at any point, then it wasn't abolished in the United States. So I get that. So if in 1863, that's the Emancipation Proclamation, and then 1865 we have what happened in Galveston. They get to Galveston, 250,000 slaves get to Galveston, Texas, and realize that they've been free this entire time. Okay. So then 1865, we call it Juneteenth, saying that now officially slavery has been abolished.
No, 250,000 slaves are freed.
Freed. Yeah, right. I got you. Yeah. So
that's crazy, Allie. You got to think about that all at once, dog. It's crazy.
At one time. So I get it. That's in Galveston, Texas. Here's my challenge to you. You know how I feel while the practice of that slavery, chattel slavery, was done. You know that you know how I feel. I got to do this show. I'm being lazy in that aspect, but you know that I feel that slaves, you know, we are still technically in a state of slavery. But that's a separate show. But I'll give you that, the freedom part. But it's championed as a holiday for freedom and equality, right? It's celebrating the importance of freedom. But here's the hypocritical part for me, because I think it's gonna give light to some issues in American society that maybe we don't want to talk about. We're still not equal. So if we want to celebrate the freedom part, I give you that. But even despite the significance of Juneteenth, we still face systemic racism, inequality in a lot of different stages of in a lot of different stages of life. We face it in employment, healthcare,
Peace, Chef.
criminal justice. So for me, to compare Juneteenth to something like July 4th, right? She said she wanted to run it all the way to July 4th. July 4th is independence from the British. And that's actual independence from the British. United States is its own country. So it's like it's not a hollow holiday. To me, Juneteenth, the celebration of freedom, to me, I'm not saying it is, but it feels hollow because we still fighting for inequality and we're still fighting for freedom to this day. What do you say to that?
I totally disagree.
Go ahead.
Definitely the freedom aspect, like I say, there's no way you can fight around that. Like I say, it's 250,000 people realized they were free. Now, on the understanding what slaves is, we can, debate over, how we feel about that in modern terms, of course. You know what I'm saying? The Egyptians were black. You know what I'm saying? So what we're going to, you didn't even see me sneaking the Egyptians black part. I got you. so I got you to agree. But when I say it comes to the equality aspect, that's why I brought in Miss Opal so much, because that's where I feel like her fight was brought in to where they made this more digestible to the masses. Because like I said, this was a Texas holiday forever. And it does have, like what Chill said, there's a reason why it should be a nationally recognized, and it has to do more with Texas. That's 100% true. We always celebrated it. So I totally, the equality part is handled by what she's trying to say. I know she's fighting to try to get equality. I know we do not have equality here. And I boil it down to, I always be real, y'all. We know where we at. We behind enemy lines. We have came a long way to where, you know what I'm saying? We came a long way to where we had to give 150% to their 40%. And I understand that fight, but I feel like that made us stronger. But what she was fighting for her equality, with her messages going, getting the signatures to bring a shed light on the situation, I feel like she's handled the task. I feel like the task was accomplished by it becoming a national holiday. Like I say, being 90 some odd years old and accomplishing that is something, it shows how much of a fight you have to do and how long you probably have to fight something to get change in this diaspora where we at. So I'm not fighting the fact that I know that we do not have equality. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not a rocket scientist to take that, having the skin color of being where we at. But getting change done is something I feel like should be more talked about.
Okay. Go ahead, Chef. He might not be connected.
Oh, Chef wrong.
So
Chef Reed. Chef Reed.
Yeah, Chef Reed.
Chef Reed.
We want this to be an open conversation, y'all. So, y'all come here to listen to us speak. That's cool. But,
hop on.
Hop on. We want to hear other perspectives, not just in the chat. So here's my now. This goes to my overarching point of the hypocrisy of Juneteenth. So now I'm into politics.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to look at. That's what I like to study in my free time. I watch CNBC, I watch all of that stuff. C-SPAN and those kinds of documentaries. So American Dream, this is your moment. Hilarious.
Sunchild. What up, Sunchild? Appreciate you know.
So here's my other part to the hypocrisy of it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a few points. I got about 7. So now I'm gonna get into the political hypocrisy.
Okay.
Juneteenth. Now you said y'all been this happened in 1865. So it's been recognized in Texas, you know, for however long.
Since 1866, nigga.
It's the 1860s. So it happened in 1865. So since 1866. No, okay, I got you. So in 1866, it's been recognized. So we had the civil rights movement in 1960. So that's 100 years after that. And then COVID happened 2020. So that's 60 years after that, technically. The beginning. I'm not being exact. Don't kill me for my math. Y'all could do that in the chat. So it was not recognized as a federal holiday till 2021. Now she's 90 plus, 97. So she's been fighting for it most of her adult life, which would be about 60 years, I would assume. So since about 60 years. Here's my thing with it becoming a federal holiday. And this is why I go back to the equality and the freedom aspect for African Americans on this continent. Why it's hypocritical, this holiday, to me, is it's kind of like token politics. Because if it was always this important, we're talking about over 200 years. It's been this important this entire time. But what I know about politics is they do these gestures, they do these symbols of things, right? When they actually address an issue, especially in regards to African American, they don't necessarily want to change it, but they want to be seen as changing it. So they give you a symbol, right? So they're being supportive without a real change. So do you truly think, now Opal Lee, I'm not, this will be a no slander Opal Lee day. Hopefully her picture is still up. Yep, it's still up. I think that it's a token because we got it. And I think around that time, I don't want to be anachronistic, but I think around that time, that was like George Floyd and all of that, right? Or like right around that, during the police brutality, the height of the police brutality, whatever. We got it after or before? I'd be curious.
Let's check real quick. That's a quick little boom, boom, boom.
Matter of fact, peace to I'm gonna let y'all get in real quick. Peace to you, Sunchild. Peace to you, Marcus. And Sunchild, you want to say something, and then Marcus, and then Chef. Whenever you get your mic together, just jump in.
Yeah, what I would say is that speaking on hypocrisy, America has a history of hypocrisy. Even beginning with the Union, Gordon Grange, who made that general thing that they said.
General Order number 3.
Yeah, that was seen as hypocritical in itself, because what it said was they were free, but they were told to remain on the where they lived. And they would get wages without any stipulations on how.
That started the whole sharecropping business. Correct.
Right, and on what stipulations on how fair wages and whatnot. So ain't no telling what they were being paid for their labor. And they were also told that they couldn't be idle, and idleness would not be tolerated. So they were free, but they were told that, you know, you can't just be free to idle around. And also with the 13th Amendment, with that when that was written, they were imprisoning blacks in very high numbers for being idle and for taking that freedom. So that there was major hypocrisy there. And if you remember, Frederick Douglass wrote his poem "What to the Negro is the 4th of July," in which he spoke about.
Hold on, Sunchild.
Yeah, talk to him, Sunchild. Talk.
That was way before. That was way before.
I know, but he just explained the hypocrisy though. He just explained the hypocrisy.
Let him cook, and then when
he cooking right there. Let's go, Sunchild.
Let him go, Sunchild. Go ahead.
I think it's off topic, but go ahead. I think everything he said was off topic.
No, he's setting the premise. He's talking about hypocrisy.
He's just setting the premise.
I'm speaking about the history of hypocrisy. Frederick Douglass spoke about the hypocrisy of July 4th, that they had slaves, and spoke about all men being created equal and so on. And he spoke specifically about the hypocrisy. And then if you also can consider the 13th Amendment itself, freeing the slaves, but keeping slavery intact. To this day, some people argue that there is slavery in the prisons. I think convict leasing continued until about the 1940s under the 13th Amendment, and blacks were being leased out to plantations and mines and so on. And you know, we were celebrating freedom in Juneteenth, despite the fact that this slavery was still going on. I'm not sure if it was just ignorance but there was hypocrisy both there in the law and in the people's minds, or perhaps the people just didn't know. Like there may be hypocrisy today with regards to that, since no one really speaks about the slavery that's going on in the prisons today, and the overpopulation of blacks in prison and what that means. Only in a few places you still hear that, but we celebrate Juneteenth as if that slavery is not still happening. But I think I can just leave it there. As far as hypocrisy throughout American history, you can consider the fact that slaves were freed in 1865 and they were still fighting for civil rights in 1965. 100 years later, so there's a hypocrisy there of slavery in itself. And then even after that, there's the war on drugs and so on, and all these other things. So oppression has always been a part of American history and hypocrisy, and that's a reality, you know. But I think I'd agree with DQ that we still have come a long way. And we can perhaps look forward to another celebration later on where we can celebrate even more freedom. But I think freedom from chattel slavery itself was a great accomplishment. That's certainly worth celebrating. And the fact that we're not being lynched in droves and so on, that's still worth celebrating. And we're not being whipped and chained, that's still worth celebrating. But at the same time, we can recognize the hypocrisy in the American institution.
Go ahead, Chef. Hey, I like that. I like that. Hey, I don't know when you come over here. I wish you would do the stuff that you do when you come over here. I wish you would do that everywhere else. People would just look at you completely different, bro. You cook when you come over here. I got to give you a props. You actually cook when you come over here. Go ahead, Chef.
Let's get it.
A broke clock, you got the right time twice a day.
Yeah, y'all can hate if you want to. Sunshine shining on y'all niggas.
Go ahead, Chef. I'm gonna get Marcus. You gonna have more than enough platform to kill all of them. Go ahead, Chef.
Well, you know, I definitely am happy that the United States recognize Juneteenth as a national holiday. That's definitely a step in the right direction, you know, for recognizing, you know, a despicable institution coming to an end, you know. So anybody who have any issues with it or have any pushback with it, like I really don't even understand, you know, any pushback towards the country recognizing the freeing of slaves, even though it was in a particular area, right, of the country. But it's that particular area memorializes the whole institution. So that's what it's doing. It's not saying that this was the day that all slaves was freed in the United States. And I can also piggyback to say that America and anybody who talks about slavery, they do slavery an injustice by saying that the emancipation freed all the slaves. It didn't. You dig what I'm saying? So if you got a problem with, or if you make any qualms with Juneteenth, and you don't make the same qualms against the Emancipation Proclamation, then that's kind of hypocritical in itself. The country, by recognizing Juneteenth, they are recognizing what the emancipation did not do.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
because the emancipation didn't free all of the slaves. It just freed all of the slaves that was held in states that was still in rebellion. Y'all need to go read that.
Yeah, I know.
You get what I'm saying?
So the Emancipation Proclamation had a lot more to do with the Civil War, but like I said, I'm doing a show on that. That's much later. But yeah, go ahead, cook up.
Yeah.
Cook up. You always
Yeah,
cook.
Yeah, chef cooking now. Let's get it.
Chef, real quick. Can I put the link to your Discord in the chat for your Discord or no?
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so so I think Juneteenth it covers some things that the Emancipation Proclamation didn't cover. Then, thirdly, and I'm about to finish up, but thirdly, the Emancipation Proclamation. I said, all right, but move on. And Juneteenth, the Emancipation Proclamation. Thirdly, if it wasn't for that general going into Galveston, Texas, those people probably would have never known, right, that slavery was ended. You dig what I'm saying? So it just showed that the United States government had far-reaching capabilities to extend their power across their whole territory. So that's even more telling. Even with the Freedmen's Bureau, right?
The piggyback off that, Chef. The piggyback off that real quick. A lot of people don't know geographically where Galveston is. Galveston is damn near by Mexico. Galveston is actually an island. So they had to traverse all the way through Texas, which everybody understand how big Texas is. Some people can't fathom how big Texas is. So for them to make it all the way to Galveston, that's why it was such a prominent thing, because they went to many different cities before then, but to make it to Galveston, which was a major slave hub, port city. That was a major focal point. That was a major point.
Yep. So by the United States showing that they could extend their power, their sovereignty all the way damn near into Mexico, right? That was a telling thing. Even with places like the Dakotas and those in Oklahoma, even reaching there in those reservations and telling the and making deals with the Native Americans to relinquish their slaves. You know what I mean? That was also telling. So I think all of that goes together, and I think Juneteenth actually encapsulates the what the emancipation didn't do, and freedom and totality. And to anybody who's acting like there's or acting like they can snicker at Juneteenth, or that Juneteenth is, a made-up holiday, or don't nobody reckon, I think that's ignorant as hell. You know what I mean? Because we celebrate everybody else's holidays, right? we celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
Facts.
We celebrate
St. Patty's Day.
The 4th of July, St. Patrick's Day. You dig what I'm saying? We find a way to go drink a beer on Cinco de Mayo with the Latin people. We find a way to get in a bar and drink a green beer for goddamn St. Patrick's Day, but we snicker at Juneteenth. You don't think Juneteenth means more to African Americans than goddamn St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, I mean, what you call it? Juneteenth should mean more to us than the 4th of July. And to piggyback off of what Sunchild said, if you read Frederick Douglass' speech on the hypocrisy of the 4th of July, then African Americans should celebrate Juneteenth as their Independence Day, because during the 1700s, when the colonies was fighting for their independence or their freedom from Great Britain, from England, we were still held as slaves in those colonies. So that freedom or that independence wasn't extended to us. So Juneteenth should be our 4th of July. And y'all can have the floor.
The
I
fact
like
that
that.
you
I like
just
that,
said,
Chef.
the fact that I'm gonna let Marcus get in. The fact that you just said I'm piggybacking off of what Sunchild said. I just want to
Love
let
it.
you know I'm clipping that.
Okay.
I'm holding on to that like a jewel. If y'all ever go in on Sunchild, I'm playing it. I'm dropping the yellow cake uranium because Sunchild has officially been. You in the game, Sunchild. You just got co-signed by one of the leaders of the industry. Go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead, Marcus. It's your time. The archives in the building.
Thank
Go
you
ahead,
very much. Thank you very
So,
much.
so can y'all hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you on this Jones. What up, baby?
Yeah. So what's up? What's up, everybody? Let me just give y'all some context on why it may be a little bit more significant than we understand. During the Civil War, a lot of the slave owners actually didn't stay at the plantation areas. What they did is they moved and took their slaves to Texas. So during the Civil War, as the Union troops began to encroach on the southern properties, a lot of the slave owners fled and they fled to Texas. So what ended up happening is that Texas got a big increase of African slaves, African
Mm-hmm.
descendant slaves during that period of time. And the reason why the numbers increased so high is because they were actually from other parts of the country and that they were
Correct.
trying to hide them in Texas. That's why
Okay.
it should be viewed from a national point of stance because it's not just Texas. What happened was slave masters were trying to hide the slaves and they were hiding them in Texas.
It's
So
enough
when the
space.
army yeah, so when the army troops came and recognized what was going on, you find that thing. And if you must know, they even had up until the 1970s families that were still stuck in sharecropper contracts. They didn't even know that that stuff was illegal at the time.
Hey,
And
y'all.
so
My where I'm at right now, Marcus. My papa, when he gets back, we was talking about that. It's property that we always used to fish. That they were sharecropping on that land, but that dates all the way back to when it was the slavery days. That's automatic down here. Like that's real. I'm only 4 generations detached from that.
exactly. And I'm three generations detached
Yep.
myself from my family. And so that's a point that we ought to address, right? And then about celebrating. Celebrating, you can celebrate progress. It doesn't have to be the accumulation of your goals. So we celebrate days of progress. So Declaration of Independence, we understand July 4th, that big battle, but there wasn't a complete breakage at that time for me, right? We assumed it was, but if you actually look at it, you'll find that that's not what happened. And then we look at America in the completeness now, but you still have other European nations in the Americas who were still in contact with that. And so you celebrate the progress, but we acknowledge that it's a step in the right direction. Uh, Miss Oprah Lee and her work is tremendous. You can't
Yep.
say
Yep.
enough about it, right? And then minimize their work. Um, but that's the general sense of what Juneteenth was. As for me, I've known about it majority of my life, but of course I have a unique situation. Um, in so, and then I got family in Texas, so it was a common knowledge passed on from my family that's in Texas.
Yes,
And
sir.
so that's the point that we want to talk about. So yes, are we equal? No. Or is there still gains we must fight and strive for? Absolutely. But let's recognize that the condition that my great grandmother and great grandfather faced is not the condition I face today. And that's because of the sacrifice of people like Miss Oprah Lee, who struggled and fought for that progress, so that this generation, the next generation, can have something more than the generation previous to us. So I don't see it as hypocrisy. I see it as progress and stages and steps in order to accomplish the goal of complete equity. I don't even look for equality. I look for equity in a system that was designed in part to hinder black progress and growth, and the stages that it took for us to get to this point now, such as sitting on there and being able to openly critique American history. That wasn't a common ploy. There was few blacks who was able to do that. Being able to choose your work, being able to fight for equitable wages, being able to even do the ballot, right, without having land ownership, being able to deem and raise your children, because that wasn't even a privilege that people had during slavery times. And so I don't want to minimize our progress on the goal that we haven't achieved what we hope to achieve at this time, but that we acknowledge that it's not, the conditions have improved and have changed. While it's not perfect, I can at least acknowledge that it's not as bad as it was in 1823. It is a
Hey,
period.
real quick, I don't see Dream down here.
No, American Dream, you popped in. We added you on, and your thing pop off, bro. It's something on your end. Like
Yeah,
we see you. I see you every time you pop in, brother.
Yeah, you're just popping in and popping right back out. But I definitely want to hear what you got to say. What you're saying in the Discord is interesting. Go ahead.
I'd like to add something else, if I may. I'd like to add that.
Let Chill finish up. Let Chill finish up, and then
So I'm done. I'm ready to hop off. I just wanted to put that in there, but I wanted to bring out that my most important point is that those from Virginia and the Carolinas and Georgia and all of them fled to Texas so that they can maintain slavery for long. Is that the Union troops moved into situation, and though we still didn't achieve some great equality after, and there were some things that happened afterwards that was questionable. But I also want to point out that you should look at the first Juneteenth. They were actually goals were set there to buy land. Like it was a celebration in order to develop wealth within your own community. And so you should look at some of the very early Texas Juneteenth celebrations and how they raised money and purchased land and did these things as a way to improve the conditions overall.
Well, this boy Marcus knows so goddamn much. It's crazy. He the archives for real.
Yeah, Marcus. Everybody know that's my nickname for Marcus, the archives. So.
Yeah, he does his thing. He is telling 100% truth.
Hey, the link
So
is in
our Discord.
Peace to you, Marcus. The link is in our Discord, and the link is in Chef's Discord. So try to join from there. See if it'll work from there.
Allow me to add something, if I may.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, any business.
Just for your consideration, if I understand correctly, the first Juneteenth would have been June 19th, 1866 then, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now,
I don't know. Well, let me say this. I don't know historically if they did. I'm just saying that to tie into what Brass was saying. You know, we've been celebrating it forever down here in Texas. Now, I don't know like an official date to where people start getting together and celebrating it, but I know it's just been recognized forever down here.
Right, and my point is that even if it were the first time,
hold on one second. Everybody stop. I want to be clear on something before we go forward. So when what is going on with American Dreams? What's the name? Because I want to hear what he got to say, but it keeps getting.
You see, he popped on and popped out.
Right. Yeah. So, because I just added him to the stage, but he keeps getting removed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the hell.
Well, I'm not gonna say removed, but I don't know, Dream. I don't know what's going on. Coming maybe from a different email.
Yeah, we don't have nobody on no block shit. We don't do that over here.
I figured out what my issue was. He might be dealing with the same thing. Like for whatever reason, while I was connected to my car,
let me add him to the
while I was trying to connect while I'm with my car, it wouldn't let me do it.
Hold on, Logic. Say something, and then just so I know you can at least talk. Say something real quick, and I'm gonna let Sunchild finish.
Yes, sir. You talking to me?
All
okay,
right,
good. Okay, stay right there. I just want to make sure we can hear you. All right, go ahead, Sunchild, finish.
Yeah, really briefly, that if the first Juneteenth were in 1866, June 1866, then the 13th Amendment would have been ratified and made law before that. So at the very first Juneteenth, you would have the tradition of not just freedom in Texas or in the South, but they had an idea of national freedom. as well
Yeah,
there. So and that's why I think it's important to see the Juneteenth celebration as a national holiday, even from the beginning, because there was national freedom at that first Juneteenth.
that makes sense. I
Okay.
agree with that.
So go ahead, Dream. I'm gonna let you get in because I know your connection is crazy. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, and I may have to drop out after I say what I have to say because I've been pretty much going at it with Sunchild in the Discord about this all day. So
Go ahead.
I'm kind of not really
Only thing we
looking
say is
forward to
Dream. We can say
engaging with
whatever
him
you
much
want.
more
Go
at this
ahead. Good
point.
stuff.
I only want to respond to what Chef said because what Chef said was ultimately what I said to start the conversation about Juneteenth was just saying that Juneteenth is used as a replacement for July 4th. And that it for me, it represents the idea that Black Americans don't see themselves as fully Americans, that they don't want to be fully Americans. They'd rather have their own separate holiday, especially they don't want to celebrate July 4th because they just have a real hard time seeing themselves as fully American. It's really difficult. And I think that's the sentiment that Chef was expressing as well. And that's what I was also speaking to. So, it was kind of, I was kind of relieved to hear Chef say that because for me, it was just natural that that's what was going on. And what I was talking about was the fact that when you go to Juneteenth celebrations, you're more seeing African stuff on sale, and it's more about getting in tune with your African culture, not your American culture. It's not an American holiday, whether state or national. Juneteenth today is not seen as an American holiday. It's more seen instead of Black people getting in touch with their American roots, they're more, encouraged to get in touch with their African roots. And Sunchild will tell you that. Sunchild would even support that. But that's what I'm talking about. And I think that idea of not wanting to be fully American, in my estimation, is the best reason for why the Black community isn't in the position that they want to be. And that's the problem that as a conscious community, that's the problem we claim we're here to fix, but we're not really willing to admit what the problem is.
I gotta say something after that right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
I'd
There's
appreciate it if
want to say
American
something.
Dream would speak to me, please and thank you.
Too many people talking. Let Logic get in and then some. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna let Sunchild reply directly to that. Go ahead, Sunchild. And then I'm gonna let
All I
you
wanted
get
to say is I would appreciate if American Dream does not speak for me. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Logic.
Y'all, the beauty of it is y'all will be back friends tomorrow, so I ain't even worried about that.
Close your window.
But
whatever window you got open.
I don't got no window.
You got some kind of wind going on.
Okay, hold on.
Hey, Zoo, hit the
what
link
I was
real
about
quick.
to say.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Logic.
Oh no, I was just about to say. I see your.
Is this a little bit better though?
Yes.
Yeah, you good.
Yes.
20 minutes.
All right, so
okay, so the first off, there's nothing African about Juneteenth. They're celebrating something that happened on American soil to American people, and I think that there's a thin layer, but a very important layer of kind of hypocrisy with saying something's wrong with Juneteenth. I agree with a lot of what Chef said in a different way, right? It's like, and I think that's like the same problem that a lot of people seem to have with science is like when you're looking at Juneteenth.
Yep, the ghost got you. They got you. But you know what's crazy? I mean, you're gonna cut me off, but I'm cool with it. Hey, Zoo, hit the link.
Hold up, Chef, I hear Chef talking too.
No, Chef ain't talking. That's me.
Chef ain't here. That was Brad.
Not even in here.
Okay. No,
Go
yeah,
ahead,
I thought, yeah, okay. So See, there's nothing African about it. That's the first off, and the second thing is like you have to acknowledge twofold on this, right? So yes, you can look back in the history, and you can look at specific scenarios that are geared to holding back African Americans. Yes, all of this is true, but then when you look at I would say the state of the United States right now, you have to kind of at least embrace that it may not be moving as fast as you would want it to move, but it seems to be moving into a particular direction, and it's not backwards, right? Like and you could say the same thing about science. That's a whole nother conversation,
Mhm.
but that's what I see, right? I see like more ability to be able to have sway in politics, in the economy, right? All these kind of different things that are now becoming available to black people, and that would be, coming from the same people that you would accuse or imply that are holding you back, or the same people that are now kind of like, allowing you to have whatever it is that you want to have. That's all I wanted to say for now. But I mean, Marcus said some really good stuff. Chef said some really great stuff. But I think that that's got to be twofold. Like, you can't have it both ways and say, oh, they're really trying to hold us back or give us an empty holiday, but they're giving us something, right? It may not be what you want it to be. It may not be moving as fast as you would like for it to be moving, but you gotta at least admit that it is moving. And it's not going backwards. They're a lot closer to giving us more ability in society than they are to taking more of it away. Not
All right,
saying
so
that they're not still, doing us dirty here and there, but I'm
stay
saying that
right
they're
there.
they're,
Stay
they're
right there.
closer to
Hold on.
moving in that direction. Go ahead.
Stay right there. Stay right there. Nobody, everybody's bringing out great points, but they're not speaking to my point about the hypocrisy. So let me ask you a question. Unequivocally, are black people free in 2024? Go ahead, Roger. I'm talking directly to
On the
you.
Egyptian black question.
I'm asking you. Unequivocally, are black people free in 2024?
What does unequivocally mean?
100%.
Nah, I don't feel like nobody free. Mexicans, Chinese,
Okay,
white, nah.
okay. So then let's know. Okay. Are we equal in 2024? Anybody? You too, glad DQ. You seem to have the connection. So you too. Well, no, me and you had the conversation.
You know me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah, we
I'm
had.
going to say, I've already admitted my point. I feel like the equality thing is a false paradigm that we going hunting for a unicorn. Like, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I understand what we're dealt with, and I deal with the cards that I have, and we seem to make magic with the cards that we get, even though the shit may be rigged against us. And so that's why I say I love about us in this diaspora. So yeah, I can say no to both of them questions. No, we're not free. No, we're not equal. But I feel like none of us, if you want to boil it down to some American shit, because of capitalism, we all getting stomped on.
Predatory capitalism. So the
Predatory capitalism. You're
so
right.
the
You're right.
other part, the other piece is this. Hold on. The other piece would be this then. So then the other piece is the political tokenism of Juneteenth. What we're celebrating is specifically what happened in 1865, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the state of black in the United States right now.
Correct.
Okay. So now speak to the political part. Would you agree? And I looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke to God. Me and God had a quick conversation. So I'm gonna share my screen. Let me
I
see.
gotta see how did you prompt Almighty.
I'm gonna give. No. I'm gonna shut up. I got 4 ChatGPTs open right now. So all
Yeah.
I said to ChatGPT was the Juneteenth becoming official happened after the uprising of George Floyd. That's all I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. We had that one.
Yes,
Yeah.
Juneteenth becoming an official federal holiday happened after the uprising following the death of George Floyd. The national and global protests against racial injustice and police brutality sparked brought renewed attention to issues of systemic racism and the historical injustices faced by African Americans. This move, I'm going to go to the bottom, y'all can read the rest, but this move was seen as a significant step in acknowledging and addressing the legacy of slavery and the ongoing struggles for racial justice in the United States. So that speaks to my point. I got a bunch of points. I don't know how long we're going to be here, but this will be my third point is I think the government recognizing it as a federal holiday is political tokenism. It's just a way for politicians to appear supportive without making real changes. It's like they give us something and logic just spoke to it. So that's that's one of the reasons why I'm saying the hypocrisy of it. Is it celebrating 1865? Cool. I have no problem with that. But in 2024, to be celebrating Juneteenth, like July 4th, when they actually achieved independence from the British, we didn't actually achieve the freedom and equality that Juneteenth is somehow promoting for
Oh
Black
yeah, I gotta
Americans in
stop
the
you on
United
this. I
States.
gotta stop you on that,
We
Brass. I'll let you say
haven't
this shit four
achieved.
times.
Go ahead. We haven't achieved
I'll
it
let you
yet.
say this
Go
4
ahead.
times today, bro. We
Go
did not detach from the British. Majority of the banks in America, you already know where they lead to.
Oh
You
yeah,
already know
there's
the
some stuff
royalty.
behind it. I got you on
Yeah,
that.
we did not attach from the British. If we want to talk about July 4th, that's a big hypocrisy. That's a big hypocrisy. We ain't attached from Europe. It's a reason why we was over here. Why did they stop our damn TV when Queen Elizabeth died? Answer me that question.
I
Why
don't
did they
know. I
stop
haven't even
our
listened to that.
sports when
It's a good
Queen
question
Elizabeth?
though.
You know why they did that, man. So if we really gonna hang on this July 4th, we really broke away from the British stuff. We gonna have to really dissect that because we
We
really did
will,
not.
we will, we will at some point. But that's the part of the problem. Go ahead, Chef. You came back. You want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to speak to y'all saying that we don't have freedom and equality, and that the Emancipation Proclamation, the Civil War, Juneteenth, the Civil Rights Movement, and all of these things didn't give us what all other Americans have. I totally disagree with y'all. I mean,
Okay, good.
that was spit in the face of everything, you know, that our people have been fighting for y'all to say we haven't gained what we were actually fighting for. We have now.
Chef, that's why I asked him what he meant by unequivocally. That was the wiggle room he wanted when he said unequivocally.
You damn
No,
right.
That's
Go
why I
ahead.
had to answer his question the way he did.
he's
You
doubling down on it.
damn right. You damn right. That's why. Hey, guess what? Hey, that means we know each other. You damn right.
No, he actually didn't give himself no wiggle room by saying that.
No,
Let's
no,
go.
no.
Let's go, Chef.
Go ahead. Speak to it.
Yeah, if I say unequivocally, I'm saying definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that if I say that we unequivocally have freedoms, meaning I'm saying we definitely don't. I mean, that we don't have equality. If I say I'm saying unequivocally we don't have freedom and equality, then I'm saying that's a definite. Like it ain't no
Okay.
wiggle room in that.
But you on the definite on the other side is saying yes, we do.
I'm saying yes, we do.
I got you.
To
I see where you're coming from. I see. Okay.
listen, we live in a country of laws. Under the letter of
Mm-hmm.
the law, we have freedom and equality. Now, how it's implemented, right, or how we feel as though that law is doled out, right?
Yeah,
Justice.
it's just yeah.
Whether our legal system practice law justly, right? That's the argument. But under the letter of the law, right, we have freedom and equality. We fought for
Chef
that.
has
We got
swayed me.
those things.
I'm back on yes. Chef has swayed me. He 100% right.
Go ahead,
That's a
Brad.
damn shame. Damn shame. I know. No, you know what's funny though? You know what I love? And by the way, like I said, Tri-Media is Geneva is Switzerland. I want to hear all ideas. I'm not gonna.
All
I'll let
ideas.
y'all sort all that out. Y'all clip it up and run with it. Do whatever you want to do. But the point of this also is I want to highlight the people that's actually getting out and creating content.
Yep.
Not only follow the Carnivorous podcast, like and subscribe to it.
Facts.
Put in a notification because he's creating information content. And then the other part I'd like for you to do is join his Discord. His link is in the chat. I want to support. So if
Mhm.
y'all have something, definitely come in. Black Panther, you gotta turn your camera on. I never met you before. Don't add them to the screen yet. 'Cause Black Panther, I think I know who that is, but
You know
I
what
want
that
to
is.
be sure. No, I want to be sure because before they actually come up,
It's Miss Lisa.
Miss Lisa, you officially have 5,000 names. That's all. That's all
Okay.
I'm gonna say. You got
You should
5,000
have.
names.
I
No,
had a different one every day when I worked at Walmart for 9 years.
okay, okay, I
It's
can dig it.
however
I
I
can dig
felt when I woke up.
it. I can dig it. I know, but sometimes it'll be Black Panther, and it'll be some white guy showing his genitals or something. So I'm trying to be
You
careful.
play too much.
So
Put
no,
my
I'm just
business
saying
all out
they
there.
play too much. They
My
play
bad,
too
I
much.
signed it.
So listen. So listen, right? Hey Zoo,
Look,
I want to
no,
do that
this what
show.
I
Go ahead,
want
go
to
ahead,
say
go
something
ahead.
off of what you said earlier
Okay, go
about
ahead.
we didn't achieve emancipation and freedom and all that. But you have to think about it as the slaves. The slaves achieved that. No, it's not like we want it, not in 2024. But I believe that the slaves that they just wanted to be able to be amongst each other and do what they want to do, find their family people, members. They weren't talking about give me land, give me freedom. All they wanted to do was find their family. And they wanted to be able to not have to go and, work in the kitchens and work wherever without pay, or, if they didn't want to, they didn't have to go to work. They wanted to be free from the whip and the beatings every time they open their mouth, be able to walk around freely and not just in that little space they were provided. You have to
Let's
think
go,
of it
Miss Lisa.
that way.
Let's
Were
go, Miss
you
Lisa.
okay? So were you aware of what the what the what actually? I think sometimes that's why I got to do this show, DQ, because I'm also of the population that believes that technically we're still slaves. Now I know I'll get
Hey, brother.
killed for it. I know we'll get killed for it, but I know what happened after slavery ended. The laws that they enacted to then lock us up
Yeah.
to basically
Absolutely.
put us back into
Them Jim
slavery,
Crow
back into
laws.
bondage. The Jim Crow laws, the
And I
Southern
told you,
Project,
they still
the
had to
prison.
hide in the woods and stuff.
Right. They were locking after slavery, just so everybody understands, right, where I stand. I look at the Emancipation Proclamation a little differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand its significance to the North beating the South in the Civil War. I consider, and I actually want to speak to what Zoo was talking about too. Zoo made a good point in the chat about that we keep saying that this is a something that we celebrate in the United States versus an African comment. He made a great comment, and I can't wait to do that show. I want you to present something on this show, Zoo.
And you have to think
Join
about
the
it.
Discord.
The
We'll talk
northern
about it in the
slaves,
Discord.
the northern slaves that got freed 2 years before the southern slaves, and they came down south, and they still were put on plantations because we weren't free. Our people were not free down here. So it's a lot to celebrate. They can go north and south now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the
And,
reason they were
and
hunting
but
them was because those slave owners did not want to free them because they would have to work then. They
Right.
have to go back to doing their own fields, picking their own damn cotton and their corn.
My mom and daddy picked cotton, but they got paid to do it. They didn't have to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I mean, it's just how you look at it and what you've been through. And like I said, I done been through all the stuff with the and still go through it. But back then, when I was young, we still, the white people treated us like trash. It was a few places still black people couldn't go in my hair.
Yep. My head Texas.
Yeah, and it took a very, very long. Let me tell you when it started changing in my hair. DQ, you remember when those 3 black guys drowned
In the lake?
in the boat coming from Comanche? They was in handcuffs and they was taking them across the lake instead of going over the bridge with them. And the boat tipped over, and they tried to say the boys weren't handcuffed, but one of them was on the swim team. He drowned. And that's when things started changing in my hair.
She's talking about my head, Granny.
Yeah.
She's talking about my head, Texas.
And that's down here in Texas. And I'm telling you, it was still Big Mama worked for the white people. Clean
Miss
houses.
Lisa. Miss Lisa.
Hmm.
My granny right here. I just told my granny, she walked by. I said, she talked about the Mahair incident. Well, guess what my granny said?
What?
Yeah, what I say, Granny?
They murdered them boys.
Yeah, they did. My grandfather
They
was
did
on it.
that. I remember that when they put them in the boat. And matter of fact, I was down there.
My grandfather was too, and he said the same thing.
They murdered them boys, and they knew exactly what they were doing. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm all right. How you doing, Miss Grandma?
My granny, yeah. At my granny house.
I actually wasn't coming home. I wasn't barbecuing, but I told him I was frying some ribs and chicken wings.
Granny, did you bring me a plate? I'm in Oak Cliff.
I got you. I got you.
I picked some garlic cheese, mashed potatoes, and some mixed veggies.
Granny, I'm a black people and I'm a fat people and I like to eat. And I miss people cooking for me. I cook for everybody else.
I don't mind cooking for you. Quanti gonna have to bring you to Waco.
Yep.
I'm in Oak Cliff. I'm moving to Mahair.
She moving back to Mahair.
You're right up the street.
Yes, ma'am.
my mama them all from Axtell.
Oh, really? That's just around the corner.
Y'all gonna be talking all day.
I got some uncles and cousins up in Mount Kong.
All right now. Granny, y'all stand the DQ. I'm gonna be waiting on my plate. Don't be playing with my emotions.
I ain't gonna be playing with you. I got you. Oh man, yeah, man. Country living, baby.
And I done gave you my address.
I got you. I'm definitely gonna have to bring you this plate. I know I don't play about this cooking over here at 1109 Goshen Road. Woo!
Don't play with me. I'm at 2331 Talco, TALCO Drive.
Okay. Got you, mama.
Hey, let me get this out right quick before my connection drop again.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
Could we take a commercial break?
We on a commercial?
Yeah, we on a commercial, mama.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to clip up that moment, so that'll give me an idea, a better idea to clip it. I want to give that because I think stuff like that is so special, especially when we actually go to the elders, the people that raised us, not raised us in real life, not in the YouTube community. Go ahead, Logic.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, speak to it, Logic.
All right, you back on, Logic?
And he's gone. He got the worst connection in the history of social media. But so all right, so to the political part of my hypocrisy, I'm getting killed on all fronts. I feel like Egypt. And so here's the part that I like to speak to too. So moving on from the political part. The other part of the hypocrisy I wanted to bring out was the commercialization. You know, I think the businesses profiting from the holiday through sales and promotions without
What business
actually,
doesn't?
hold on, I know, but let me say this, without actually supporting the African American community or understanding the significance of the holiday, right? So I think it kind of dilutes the commercialization, but that's any holiday, right? Commercialization dilutes the holiday's meaning and is turning it into just another marketing opportunity.
But not
Speak
in
speak to that.
black areas.
Well, we're talking about nationally. I'm glad it's not just in black areas, but I'm
I'm
speaking to
saying,
hypocrisy
but I'm
nationally.
just saying, in my area, they were celebrating all weekend because they had to go to work.
Right,
Okay, because the 19th fell, in the middle of the week. But
right.
everybody grilled and barbecued and had family gatherings and stuff like that. And I bet you a penny to $2, Comanche Crossing was up. Because it's just something that you don't let die. You
Right.
have to
Yeah.
push for the celebration. My children understand 19th of June because I told them what happened and how it happened and the things that went on and what their great grandparents went through and their great great grandparents. You know what I'm saying? And you just have to instill into your children. I don't care. And I understand it going nationally because there are black people everywhere. And why can't they just indulge in the holiday, the thing? I don't know what people might be blistering me in the chat. I don't know.
No,
But
no.
the thing about it is, it's got to be heartfelt. It's a heartfelt holiday. It's not just I don't take it lightly because even when I was growing up, I used to tell people, what y'all do for 19th of June? It's Juneteenth weekend. We going doing this, we doing this, we going here, and it was always a time for family to remember and to learn about your past, the things that your ancestors, your people went through. That's what it's about. Because without those slaves, we wouldn't have it as a holiday. I'm glad it went national. I understand it. I like it because I think in my heart of hearts, it should be celebrated. It is a celebration and it was a win for black people. The holiday is a win for black people to me, just like I fought for Martin Luther King's birthday. Why we can't celebrate him? We celebrate George Washington. He mean nothing to me, another slave owner. But he was our first president. Respect on that. That's it. But he didn't mean anything to me. He didn't do anything for our people except hold us back. And you have to think of it. It was a up. It was a up for black people, for the slaves, and that's what touches my heart. Look, I'm getting tears because it means a lot to me. That it's recognized that we were slaves. We still do have slave things going on, and there's a lot of people still have a slave mentality and slave owners. But you don't have to kiss their ass if you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? You can tell him to F off. You can tell him that. He can't do nothing to you. But back then, if
You'll
you
end up
even
on the
looked
street.
like you wasn't gonna go do what they said do, they beat the hell out of you.
Yep.
And had we not been freed, it'll still be going on. So big ups to those people, that the ancestors that were enslaved and received freedom, because a lot of them hung before the freedom came. A lot of
I
them were
was just
killed
about to
on
say
those
that.
boats before
Yep.
they came. It's a lot of them that just got trampled on, got their genitals cut off. A lot of the women got raped, had all these children by these men, because back then you had the children, you didn't get abortions. You know, and you couldn't holler rape because you were gonna get killed. Your husband had to accept that child. You know, it's a lot of things changed. They didn't get to just beat us without getting beat up. We could beat them back. You know, they didn't get to rape our women without somebody knowing it.
Right.
And that's to me is a win. And although what's the guy name that got beat up so bad that he's in the museum and stuff?
Jesse
You talking about
Washington.
Emmett Till.
Oh,
Huh?
you talking about Emmett Till? See,
Emmett,
the
yeah.
one, yeah, the one down here in Waco is Jesse Washington. The most famous lynching picture was taken here at Waco McClinic.
Yeah. I
One dude
remember that
hanging is
too.
like 300 white people just smiling. That's Jesse Washington.
Yeah.
But yeah, Emmett Till is the one that people know nationally.
Okay. If that would have happened to him before the slaves were killed, that's just another nigga. Another nigga got beat up. That's all he was. A niggery. A
Let me say
colored
something.
boy.
Let me say something, Miss Lisa. So Logic just said, I guess he was saying, what I'm trying to say is there are no equal societies. So what are you trying to accomplish with your Greaves brass? Get rid of the caste system. No, this is not an overall thing. I think I'm coming at it strictly from a political aspect of, and you said it in your quote earlier. I am a person that, while still young, 38 years young, the giving, I'm a little bit past the token giving us something so that we'll be quiet, giving us something so that we feel better. I want to actually get something. So I think when I say this, and another thing is, and it highlights my ignorance of Juneteenth, gives me a little bit more pause, and that would be the last part of my hypocrisy.
I don't think
Is
it's ignorance.
hold on. Let me say this. Well, ignorance and attacking of I didn't know. The fact that it's this important. It happened in 1865. That is this important. It didn't become a federal holiday until 2021. Just walk with me for a second. It didn't become a federal holiday until 2021. If you're in the Northeast, based on the chat, a lot of us hadn't really heard about it until then, right? That it was this important. It was such a huge thing, and that they conveniently gave it to us right after the George Floyd uprising riots. And here's the last part. Now, this is where I go into the ignorance part, is the lack of awareness, education, and historical injustice. The legacy of slavery, segregation, discriminatory policies, it still impacts us today.
Right.
So I think celebrating Juneteenth without acknowledging and addressing the injustices is hypocritical. Meaning we're celebrating the freedom, and I'm all for it. What happened on June 19th, 1865? I'm all for it. 250,000. There's no way I would ever say 250,000 slaves being freed in Texas, would and marking technically the abolition of slavery across the United States. I would never be against that. But what I'm
But that's
saying
because
is,
most people didn't know
hold
that
on,
happened.
But here, that's to my point, though. That's to my point. The lack of awareness and education, being that Americans are still unaware of the true history. And see, if I'm speaking for the population of America that were unaware of the true history and significance of Juneteenth, the recognition of it now in 2024, it becoming a federal holiday in 2021, it feels superficial. I think it should be, now I'm gonna give change, right? You never acknowledge a challenge or a problem without offering a solution. I think on June 19th, every year going forward from 2024 on, while we're celebrating the freedom of what happened in 1865, I think maybe it should be accompanied with efforts to educate the public about the importance and the ongoing struggles of our people here in the United States. And that's where I get the hypocrisy. Hold on. Juneteenth is not hypocrisy. Juneteenth is important. How we celebrate Juneteenth in the United States, to me, is very hypocritical in the United States. That's where I land my plane.
But I don't think it's a certain way we have to celebrate. We do acknowledge the people who walked before us. That's where Martin Luther King came from. He had ancestors that walked during that time, and that was instilled in him. So he took it further after that. The thing is, we don't have to not have birth certificates now. Although my birth certificate, I'm colored on my birth certificate, it's not colored anymore. It's African American, you know, it's black or it's whatever. But I'm saying they didn't get birth certificates. They didn't get to acknowledge a birth because they gave birth and had to go work after they gave birth. They didn't get time off. They get time off now. What could they give us that works for your...
That's logic. He talking to me.
Reparation.
He just talking to me.
We've gotten reparations. It's just that the northern people didn't celebrate. But I know it, although it was the Texas holiday for us, and it wasn't a national, it wasn't really observed except for black people. And then, yeah, you had some friends that were black or some acquaintances that were, white or Mexican or whatever other nationality they are. But they didn't understand until you told them about it. Right. The northern people, because it wasn't a problem freeing y'all slaves on time. It was a problem with the southern slaves because that's where most of the cotton was. That's where most of the grains were. The wheat fields and stuff that people were out in there doing. And you can tell I'm passionate because I don't talk this much on no live. But it hurts my heart that everybody don't know. Because I've explained it as I was growing up to the people in school that didn't know what Juneteenth was about. Mm-hmm. And we celebrate family. We celebrate Black. There are things at Comanche Crossing right now in Mahale, Texas, that has references about what's going on, what happened, why did it end up at Comanche Crossing? Because people celebrated there. It's an outdoor open church, it's a dance hall there. It's all kinds of things, but we celebrated us. And there was nothing wrong with it.
Go ahead, Sunshine.
I just want to speak on a couple of things with regards to what you just said, brother, about respecting, talking about the history of Juneteenth and the freedoms that we've attained, and it being hypocritical, not dealing with the freedoms that we have yet to attain. I think think you're speaking on perhaps that you don't know that at Juneteenth that does in fact take place. I think it's difficult to speak about freedom and the Freedom Day and not reflect naturally like you're doing now on the freedoms that we don't attain to. And I think that people do, and from my experience at Juneteenth, there is that conversation as well. To be fair, I would also like to
in the
say
northern states they didn't
let them
have
cook.
that.
Let them cook. Let them cook. Let them cook. Let them cook.
Yeah, I would also like to say, with regards to what Chef had said earlier about freedom and equality, that we are free and equal on paper. That just again is just another symbol of the hypocrisy. But he said we're free on paper, but not on practice. That's a hypocrisy, and that goes back to as far as the
but it's the
Declaration
truth.
of Independence. But it is true, but it's not an excuse or anything like that. But that just goes back to the Declaration of Independence that said all men are created equal, and yet we were enslaved. And finally, I'd like to speak on what you spoke about commercialization, Brother Brass. I think it's important that there is commercialization in Juneteenth, and the commercialization that I see is that black entrepreneurs and black businesses are able to have an opportunity to go out into the community so that they can be seen by the community, give out their information, their cards, because I'm sure you'd agree that black businesses need to be supported, and people need to know who these businesses are and how to get in contact with them. And even if it's a once a year opportunity where that black dollar does go to those black businesses, right? And even with the conversation of Africans, what role do they play in their entrepreneurship? Are they just hijacking the holiday? I think it's important that African Americans and African communities do sort of bridge a gap, and that's what holidays do, like Juneteenth do. They do have the opportunity where Africans and African Americans can come together and see each other and invest in each other and speak to each other. And that's one of the very small chances that we do have to do that. So I think commercially it is a good thing, because that's very lacking in the black community is commercialization. Like they say, the money in the black community spends about a day and then it's gone. So I think that's how it is a positive in the sense of commercialization. I hope you understand what I mean.
Hmm. I think one, I guess I'm a little different when it comes to it. This whole notion of them giving us something, I'm just a little bit and I'm not an older person. I didn't go through the civil rights movement and all of that stuff. So I get maybe I'm just probably spoiled. I can admit that. But all this, waiting on somebody to give us this and give us that and give us this, I'm not. I don't look at all of that always as an 100% win. And I think a lot of
Yeah, well,
times, even with these channels, um, in these, and I'm not talking about the conscious community. I'm just talking about channels that highlight black issues in the globally in the United States. They do things like they'll say things like, we're going to do a show on celebrating Juneteenth. And I think a lot of people, when they have this day off, they don't know. They don't know necessarily what happened on June. That it was 250,000 slaves, Galveston, Texas. They don't know behind it. They don't know Miss Opal Lee. Matter of fact, salute to you once again. I wish I would have made her the thumbnail so people would know her face, similar to the way they recognize other people. But the hypocrisy is just all this celebration and all of this giving us stuff without actually highlighting the actual issue. I think is why black people in the United States, we stay in the position where people have to keep giving us stuff. And I think it's also poignant. I don't think that it's a coincidence that this happened, because she had been highlighting this for a long time. The Obama administration, I read that clearly in that article. She highlighted this with the Obama administration, and Sleepy Joe is the one that signed it into government, which is, I don't know, kind of ironic. I'm not even going to speak to that 100%, but it's just celebrating, and like someone said in the chat, drinking Hennessy on June 19th, and then waking up tomorrow and going right back to business as usual. I just think while we're highlighting this holiday and while we're celebrating the holiday, wake up. Let's use this holiday to highlight not just the fake freedom and fake equality that we think have in the United States. Why not also, I think, put some light to it? Just feels superficial. Educating the broader public about its importance and the struggles of African Americans on this continent, I think would be probably more beneficial. But then instead of giving us a holiday to take off and banks to close and for businesses to make money and throw parades and this, that, and the other, actually do something that for me would do something to actually achieve this freedom and equality in the United States that African Americans are looking for.
yeah, but I hear you saying that it's superficial as a national holiday, and it's more important to educate the general public. But being a national holiday is a part, a beginning to educating the general public. So there's that. But also, I'm sorry, I forgot the what else I was going to say, but there's that. I think also I would say that as far as freedom and equality, that today we can all say that there's a class struggle, right? And there's no equality. Perhaps freedom is even in question in a class struggle. You have an underclass, a lower class, middle class, upper class, and these aren't equal classes. So there's certainly not inequality. And within the class struggle, there are definite and distinct racial racial aspects to the class struggle as well that can't be ignored or denied. So there's certainly not still a class struggle in America, and it's still not free and equal, right? But at the same time, I would still say that that doesn't mean that we don't acknowledge the freedoms that we have gained and celebrate those, and at the same time acknowledge that we haven't come to the end of the road.
I think what I'm saying, just so we're clear, I'm not saying that Juneteenth is a superficial holiday. I'm saying the recognition of Juneteenth, um, the recognition, the holiday's recognition can sometimes feel superficial because it's not accompanied by the effort to educate the public on its importance and the ongoing struggle. Listen to what I'm saying. I never, mind you, I want everybody to understand something in the chat and on the panel. This is coming from a person I never heard about it before COVID. I never did. So what I'm saying is I went through preschool, elementary school, middle school, junior high, high school, college, advanced education, and then a life of business before COVID. To then hear about 250,000 slaves in Texas being freed, that actually signified the actual abolishment of slavery in this country. I think,
But brother,
hold on, Juneteenth without the education to me makes it just makes me feel like the holiday is superficial. Go ahead.
indeed, and I don't want to be harsh, but this conversation about hypocrisy, again, I'm going to say that you must see that there's something kind of hypocritical in what you're saying. You
Go ahead.
yourself are now learning about Juneteenth. There's many people in the chat that are now learning who are saying they've never heard of Juneteenth until it became a national holiday. So
Right.
again, the fact that it's a national holiday is based on the education of the people and them learning more. You wouldn't be having this conversation today about Juneteenth if it had not become a national holiday. So we can't have it both ways. I saying making it a national holiday is superficial and that we need to educate the people when making it a national holiday works to educate the people, right?
Or
And I
even
would also say,
go ahead. Go ahead.
well, the other thing I was going to say is that uh, uh, with regards to them giving us something, I don't think they've given us anything, including Juneteenth. I think everything that blacks have attained to, they have fought for, and we can speak about Miss Opal Lee, right, and how far she
Like
walked
that.
before
I like that.
and how far she walked and her role and how old she was. That wasn't given to us. Even in the context of George Floyd, there were many uprisings that then led to in conjunction with Opal Lee that led to them not giving us but us earning a national holiday, right? And it was, if it weren't for the pressures that they wouldn't give us anything unless we were pressuring them to do these things. So I don't like to talk about these things that they gave us. They didn't give us anything. It was demanded. And that I think when you would perhaps do Opal Lee an injustice by saying that her hard work and struggle was not what got Juneteenth recognized. It was the fact that Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, like you like to call him, gave it to us. I think you do Opal Lee and those who struggled for Juneteenth to become a national holiday an injustice.
No, I don't. I would never. I would never speak directly to Miss Lee, Mrs. Lee. I appreciate what she did. I would never say she's superficial. I would never say her actions are superficial. I'm speaking directly to the recognition of this as a holiday, especially amongst Black folks. Somebody in the chat said something. I guess maybe I'm speaking to Black Americans also. One of the things that we'll do is that we will celebrate today. Today's June 19th. We'll celebrate today. And the link to join the conversations in the chat. We're about to close up in a second. But we'll celebrate this today. Tomorrow morning, it's over. And I think that there's a certain level, and I'm assuming that's a lot of different holidays, this, that, and the other. But this kind of goes back to a conversation we were having earlier about if we did this show today and you learned about Juneteenth, you learned about what actually happened, there's no way I, per se, could be hypocritical. I'm giving my opinion that it is hypocritical, so I'm also creating the content that I want to see. I'm giving the education, right? But I'm also giving my opinion on it's 2024. This happened in 1865, and I didn't know about it I went to school every day from preschool to advanced college and never heard about it until before COVID. Now, in Texas, y'all heard about it? Well, it happened in Texas. There's other parts of the South where they heard about it and learned about it. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But just making it a national holiday, what accounts for 1865 to 2021? That's 250,000 slaves freed in Galveston, Texas. At Galveston, Texas, wherever you want to frame that, you could go and learn about it. Miss Opal Lee is on the screen. We're honoring her. I would never be superficial about her. We're honoring her. But my point to you is, without the education of what actually happened, I think it's a superficial. I think it's a superficial thing of during the uprisings. Because Obama, you do know Obama had the opportunity, and mind you, I'm not trying to turn, because the more we go, we start, you point one finger, it's 1,000 pointing back at you. But the further we go into the conversation, Obama had the opportunity to do this. How many presidents since then? Before Obama, how many presidents since then? Since it's so important, since it's such a large part of our history, I know she was fighting for it. I know
process. Just process.
Yeah, well, I get it. Then that just means
that's your word. That's your word, bro.
Yeah, it's process. I'm just not happy about it. That's what I was saying. Listen. I tell people all the time. One of the things about doing media is I gotta tell my personal thoughts and critiques publicly, and I don't mind getting bashed for it. That's life. You're gonna bash me for something else or whatever. You pick something, get in line. If you hate brass, get in line. But the point is, I just find it just hypocritical that it's just so important all of a sudden in 2024. Or what happened in 2021 other than the uprisings that made somebody finally say, damn, what happened in 1865 was there any financial consideration? Did anything else happen other than the national holiday?
No. The only financial thing that I know is that like jobs people will get off. So I know they'd probably take a hit on the bottom line for America, but it wasn't like she got like $100 million with the holiday or something like that. No, not at all. But one thing I want to just speak about before my phone about to die and I'm about to hop on this plate is just that. Yeah, I take it upon the personal person to try to learn the information behind something. I won't say that a haunted house is empty because I don't know what's inside of it. You know what I'm saying? I know it's something there. I just need to figure out what it is. There was a long plight. There is a substantial historical significance behind this holiday, and I think it's upon the person to take the personal journey to learn the information behind it to see why it's so relevant. So yeah, that's why I'm just laying my plane, 250,000 people free. We turning up. Happy Juneteenth.
And I appreciate that. As no better word said. Sunchild, I want to thank you, bro. Like I said, I see you completely different since you've been joining these conversations. I thought you was just a troll. As a matter of fact, I do some more honesty. When you joined the PK Discord and I actually got to talk to you in those voice chats, I realized you actually mean something of, you stand for what you mean, whether people agree or they don't. But on most topics, you're a lot like everybody else. So I appreciate you. Thank y'all for coming out. Thank y'all for enjoying the show. Hey, Chilimwe, I appreciate being a magical Negro.
And man, if you could just afford me one last word, Brother Brass,
ahead, bro.
I would perhaps encourage you to find out how many cities in the North celebrated Juneteenth long before 2021. I've seen cities as late as the 70s or as early as the 70s celebrating Juneteenth. In my own city in upstate New York, they've been celebrating Juneteenth for a very long time, and it hasn't gotten any bigger. It was huge even before 2021. So I think that's perhaps a personal thing as well. This thing of not knowing.
I'll do that as soon as we get off here. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Hey, go celebrate the rest of y'all Juneteenth. Actually, go get some education on what actually happened and pay it forward. Hopefully, you give somebody some information you learned from our show. Y'all have a great one. I appreciate y'all.
DQ. Look.
Dumping my swisher guts on my high school diploma. Knowing I'm highly educated from my aroma. Don't know where it's coming from, but I know it's marijuana. And you can smell the leaves in the room.
Check. Look, I got a new weed strand, come from New Zealand. It's a new weed brand from my new weed man. Connected to the growers, I'm a true weed fan. I'm a true weed stan. Green thumb and green hand. Jamming